Hey, this is Frank Nieto with Vision Quest Auto, and today we're going to be reviewing the 2025 Genesis GV80 3.5T all-wheel drive. This is the fully loaded version of the GV80. It is one of the best luxury SUVs you can buy. And the interesting thing about that is that Genesis is a really new brand. Like, they've only been out just for the last decade or so. They're the luxury brand from Kia Hyundai. Here's the really interesting thing about that is, so Kia Hyundai have generally been on the level with Honda and Toyota. The Genesis then you would think would be trying to maybe compete with Acura in that lower tier of the luxury brands. Instead, this competes with Mercedes and BMW. Does it come out on that level? Maybe, maybe not. In a lot of ways, it matches. In a lot of ways, it doesn't. But one thing that it really competes with Mercedes BMW is the fact that this is more on the pricing front of an Acura than of a Mercedes. And the impressive thing about this is a fully loaded SUV. And when I say fully loaded, I mean fully loaded. This has all the bells and whistles. You can drive this by itself to pull you in and out of parking spots. You have a 360 camera. You've got fully leather seats, really nice leather seats. You've got some carbon fiber interior. You've got heated and cooled rear and front seats, lots of space, and all of this also massaging seats. All of this is coming in under $80,000. For comparison, a similar Mercedes would cost you well over six figures. So it's expensive, but when you look at what you're getting, it's not as expensive. That's the bargain game that Genesis is playing. Extreme luxury for a low luxury price. So I'm going to tell you like what I like, what I might not like as much, and I'm going to score it on some of our ratings, take it for a run around here, and tell you how it drives. So let's get to it. All right, so first thing you notice when you're looking at this is that Genesis has really created a style all their own while also kind of doing some lifting a bit with other luxury brands. So this grille is its own style, and I really like it. I love how open it is. It lets all the air in for your engine. It's really sweet. So it's functional, also really sweet. The front camera right here blends in really nicely. That Genesis logo is, it's classic, it's simple, it looks great. So really nice job. These distinctive headlights also really stand out. Just really classy. From the side, it starts to get both a BMW look and a little bit of a Porsche look. Now, it's not either one of those when it comes to driving dynamics in some ways. Maybe a little bit up there more with Mercedes, but this is a really sweet looking car. These are really nice. They'll tell you when the car locks, unlocks, and they serve as a turn signal on the side. So a lot of cars will have those side lights, to let traffic next to you, behind you, give you an extra thing of where you're turning. Genesis puts it on the side, and it's just really nice, distinctive look. The wheels, again, simple but nice, and that's what they go for. It's not an over-the-top look. And the interesting thing about that is that Kia Hyundai really does have some interesting designs, and they've toned it back with Genesis, and that's not always been the case. When this first came out, they were a little bit more over the top, especially the GV70. The GV80 is a refined look. Again, that Genesis, it looks like they've been around for a really long time when it does stuff like this with this design. This just simple. They're not trying to jump out. And a lot of cars, when you think about like Tesla, Rivian, newer cars, when they jump out there, newer brands, they tend to try to grab your eye. Genesis decided to try to just stack up really well with the big boys. and it's working, to be honest, in a lot of ways. The other thing that I love is this particular matte color. If you can get a car with a matte paint, highly recommend it. Just gives it a sweet look. Interesting thing about here in the back is the first time when this is locked, you can actually just stand right behind it. It's similar with you know, most Hyundai Kias. You stand behind and you'll hear a beep for about 5 seconds, beep, 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 and then it lifts up on its own. So that's really cool. The other interesting thing that Genesis has done is they, when you first go, you're like, okay, if you want to lift this on your own with your hand, you're looking for it and you're like, is it down here? Is it here? Where's it at? It's actually right here. So this is your lift button. Let me hit that again. So this is your tailgate lift button. There's your beep, lifts up, and a lot of space back here. A lot of really good space, and again, classy features here. It's got this nice net, really nice carpeting, your 12-volt outlet, and you can lower your seats electrically in the back here. So look at that. Not just a drop down. It's automatic. It's slow. It doesn't boom, thunk. It gives you a nice slow release, and as you can see, that opens up a lot of space there. Really nice job. Now, this is the nice thing. Not always the case with cars. You hit the button and it'll lower it. You don't always get to hit the button and it raises the seats back up. Love that it does this. Also really nice is this has got suede headliner, and it's suede headliner all throughout. So including back here. Again, this is a touch that you would not see with a lot of other brands, except for, brands like a Mercedes. Again, this is plastic, but it's got this leather ridge look. It's really nice, but it's plastic. But again, attention to detail, really nice attention to detail. Bang & Olufsen speakers in the back here to give you even better sound. Again, this is attention to detail that you don't always find in cars, even luxury cars. A nice carbon fiber insert, leather, all on here. So really nice. Three Bang & Olufsen speakers, tweeters in there. Really nice quilted leather, extremely comfortable. My kids have loved these seats. Really nice back. Look at this. You've got a decent little storage space in here, cup holders. Really nice. You've got, as I said, heated and cooled seats for your rear. Again, that's something that you don't see a lot. 2 USB-C and a 115-volt household style outlet. Good job. All your climate controls back here. Also, you can slide the front passenger seat up from the rear if you need to get a little bit more room. So again, great job. Oh, also, just want to show you this. Look at that. It's just refined. It's hard cover, and it's got these elastic bands to pull it in. So, your little map pocket in there is really comfortable. Again, this carries over from those back, but you get now this brown, this tan leather insert. You've got all of your controls. This also controls the one thing I want to note here is that, let's see, they're both down, but it says power sunshades. So you don't lift them up. You hit this button here. Car's not running, but you hit this button here and it'll actually go ahead and lift this up. So really cool job there. You get inside, you've just got really ton. And look at like the amount of just detail. Really nice detail. And that's what you get with this. It's just how much. No, like you come in, car's not even on yet, and it's getting the air conditioning ready for you. This is just a really nice car. I'm gonna start this up. Extremely nice feel to this. Everything just feels great. Even the plastic down here has a really soft touch. This is not jaggy in any way. And a lot of times, the logos, just trust me, I've been in so many cars, the logos will kind of be a little bit, I wouldn't say that they're gonna cut you or hurt you, but they're not going to be soft. This is all inside. It's really just a nice thing. Stitching on here. You got your touch controls for your climate. Also, a perfume diffuser, which is really nice. So, you know, the extreme luxury. If you go past, you know, a skunk in the road, ooh, you don't have to worry about closing your vent. Not just that. You can do that up here, but you can also hit your diffuser. Very nice. Of course, your heated and cooled seats in the front, since you have that in the back. Heated steering wheel with 2 levels. But you got your front and rear climate controls. Really nice. So this is a weird thing that I've found that I'm going to just show you. That it's the sound system's really nice, but whoops, it's something that did bug me a little bit. Where am I at? Okay, so setup, sound. Here's the thing that I don't like is that it's from Bang & Olufsen. Bang & Olufsen sounds great. One of the things is your equalizer is really weird. I was trying to change the sound. I had the new Lana Del Rey going. It sounded muddy. And the reason it sounded muddy is because I couldn't change the equalizer. Now, I should say the music didn't sound muddy. The vocals sounded muddy, and I couldn't tell if it was Lana, if it was a new sound. It wasn't. It was this. You have to adjust, and I didn't realize this until I finally parked. And see, when you're moving this around, you'll see treble. So I kind of figured out what was going on, but I wish that there was another feature where you could hit this. It's supposed to be simplistic. It says, look, it allows you to easily adjust the sound to your preference. Move the marker to adjust the tone. Yeah, bright, relaxed, energetic, warm. You know what? I just want to know mid, treble, bass. Like, I don't want to have this kind of feature going on. Not my jam. I wish that if some people like that, that's great. I just wish that there was another option to click where it's like, give me the old school equalizer. You know, it might be stupid, but that's my thing. So you got your touch screen. You also have your controls like you would have in a Mazda. Pretty nice. This is like a fingerprint reader. So if you have different people driving your car, you can, you know, hit this with your preferences. That's kind of cool. Your shifter is just one of these, you know, crystal. It's nice. Nothing, you know, too bad. Your drive modes. Sport doesn't. What sport does is interesting. You'll click this into sport mode and it'll get the side bolsters tightening you, and you're like, oh, I'm going to get some really great handling, right? And you don't. It's disappointing from that point of view. I'm going to discuss it as we take this for a ride, but that's the only real knock I have about this car is the driving dynamics. So spoiler alert. Turning radius. Actually, that's not bad. So it's got a little bit more pull. It doesn't always, you don't always expect it to have that there. Really soft ride. I have this in comfort at the moment. I'm going to turn it on to sport on the way back. But it's for feeling bumps on the road. I am in West Virginia. There are massive bumps. You do feel those. But your everyday type of bumps, you know, that aren't craters, you don't really feel them. This does an immaculate job of just really smoothing out the road. If that's what you want, this is perfect for you. However, a lot of people want to have more of a connected feel to the road, the way you get in a BMW and a Mercedes-AMG, and even in Lexuses. You don't quite get that on this. So you have a more disconnected feel, frankly, and that can be good, that can be bad. If it really all depends on your preference. The unfortunate thing is, while a BMW can smooth out that road and give you a comfort feel, right on cue, BMW, you don't have that same option, because even when you put this in sport mode, it's not quite the same thing. Now, pickup and acceleration are solid. This has got a lot of horsepower in it with this engine, but I think just because of the weight with all of the features and everything else that they have on this, doesn't quite have it. See, okay, I took that turn a little bit faster and I felt it. You know, when you see arrows and you are driving a Genesis GV80, you will want to hit those brakes a little bit more. Now, that's the other thing that I'm going to call out too, is the brakes have more of a mushy feel. And I know that sounds bad. It's not the worst. They're responsive, but if you compare it to like a BMW, the brakes are less responsive. It just takes, you're gonna wanna give yourself maybe that extra half second. Sport mode, again, I feel those side bolsters come in and they tighten and they grab me, and I'm ready for some excitement, and I don't get it. I do feel that the steering got a little bit firmer. Okay, so Sport does seem to have put in a firmer steering wheel, so that's good. Steering feel, so that's good. I mean, I think that this wasn't unresponsive as far as acceleration. This might have a smidge better acceleration. You know, I have noticed that. Comfort isn't, you know, off the line, but neither of these modes is going to give you that, hey, I'm driving a Porsche feel. That's not happening, man. It's not going to give you that, I'm driving a BMW feel. You're driving a Genesis, and the sport mode's a little bit more sporty. I think this might put in fake sounds. I hear the car growling. I don't think this did any, since I don't hear it actually doing anything more with the throttle response. I'm gonna guess that this is maybe some piped in sounds. This is extremely comfortable. I really appreciate the massaging seats. Another thing I want to note is this also has a feature where it'll say, hey, it seems like you're getting tired. And it was on, so I don't know what the feature is exactly called, but it'll say, hey, seems like you're getting tired. And it'll start to focus on parts of your back where it feels like you might be fatigued if you're on a longer ride. So when I was driving this, it started to just like massage my lower back. You know, could be cool. About 20 minutes later, it was like, it seems like the mid-back's there. And so the massage comes on its own. It starts to do that. It's a really cool feature. So for me, luxury comfort, without a doubt, it's massive strengths for this car. You know, its weakest point is its driving dynamics, but they're not bad. The most important question here is, how does this compare to other luxury brands? Does it stack up? So to me, this surpasses Acura, at least as far as luxury materials, luxury features, tech features. I think this outdoes Acura in most every way. Driving dynamics, I would probably give to Acura. That's a similar thing with BMW. I think this really stacks up quality-wise as far as luxury features, tech features with BMW. On that higher end, it outdoes it. If you're comparing this to an X5, this probably comes out ahead on the X5, surprisingly. But again, driving dynamics, BMW far surpasses this. But I don't think that's the market that Genesis is going for. I think the Genesis is going for more of the Mercedes crowd. And when you look at Mercedes versus Genesis, it's a difficult one. It stacks up quality, it stacks up in that luxury aspect. The long-term luxury, though, is more difficult to say. It's not a clear winner, but it stacks up very well. Pricing-wise, it exceeds it. Like I said, at the start of this, a similar Mercedes is going to cost you well into six figures. This is under 80,000, which is insane when you compare it, when you look at it from that point of view. Driving dynamics, again, if you get an AMG Mercedes, it's going to be better. You know, as far as like sporty handling, turning radius, all that kind of stuff. It's going to just have a much more athletic ride. It's going to be punchier off the line. If that's what you're looking for, again, you know, you're probably going to want to look at a BMW. You're going to want to look at a Mercedes AMG. You're going to look at even an Acura in some ways. I think that, you know, the Lexus is going to be more expensive, but it's going to be close enough that really comes down to preference. And that's what's really impressive about Genesis, is that they've been out less than a decade, and their top of the line model stacks up extremely well to your Lexus, to your BMW, to your Mercedes. For the actual rankings, my personal preference on how I'm going to rank these luxury brands and similar sized SUVs, I would have my personal preference probably for handling, for driving dynamics, it's got to be BMW. Now I'd have Mercedes AMG below that, and I'd have Lexus right below that. That Lexus could be able to overcome that and put itself into second place. Acura is probably just ahead of this, and this is at the bottom end of that. It's not terrible. You know, comfort drive, Mercedes is probably still number one. This I would have as number three. I guess I'd probably still put Lexus above it. But I think that this has come out for that kind of soft ride. This is better than a BMW, better than an Acura for sure. For tech features, everything else, BMW, Mercedes right up with it. Lexus is probably a notch below. But this is really, really similar to the top of the line BMW, Mercedes. Again, though, you're paying significantly less money, and so that's a real consideration. Overall, I'd probably personally have Mercedes for just all-around luxury, including your driving dynamics. I'd probably still have Mercedes number one, Lexus, BMW number two, and this is really, really close, a notch below them, but far ahead of Acura. That concludes our review for this week. I hope you found it informative and useful. If you did, please drop us a like and a subscribe right there on YouTube. Really appreciate it. If you're not already following us, that'd be great. If you have any questions, just drop them right here on YouTube. For Vision Quest Auto, this is Frank Nieto. I want to thank you for watching, and see you next time.